I had to read the dinner invitation 3 times before the words made sense. My daughter-in-law, Rebecca, was hosting a family dinner. Nothing unusual about that. Except the message ended with, "Just so you know, Walter, we're serving some dishes that might not agree with everyone's stomach, especially older digestion. But I'm sure you'll manage." She was smiling when she said it. I know because she sent a video message. That smile told me everything I needed to know. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The drive to my son Marcus's house took 22 minutes. I watched every traffic light, counted every turn, my hand steady on the wheel. 43 years I'd been driving these roads. 43 years since Martha and I bought our first house 3 blocks from where Marcus lived now. That proximity had seemed like a blessing back then. The driveway was full when I arrived. Marcus's Tesla, Rebecca's Range Rover, her mother's Lexus, even her brother's Porsche, all parked like a luxury car dealership. My 12-year-old Camry looked exactly how they wanted me to feel, out of place. I grabbed the wine I'd brought. $30 bottle, not expensive by their standards, but good, honest. The kind of wine you bring when you respect your hosts, but don't need to impress them. Rebecca opened the door before I could knock. "Walter, you actually came." She turned to call over her shoulder. "Marcus, your father made it after all." Her tone suggested she'd taken bets on whether I'd show up. The house smelled incredible. Roasted meat, fresh bread, something with garlic and rosemary. My stomach responded before my brain could catch up. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. That was my first mistake. Going to dinner hungry. Going to their dinner hungry. Marcus appeared from the kitchen. My son, 38 years old now, partner at a law firm downtown. 6-figure salary. Designer suit even on a Saturday night. "Hey, Dad." He took the wine without looking at the label, set it on the counter next to 4 other bottles, all with names I couldn't pronounce, all probably costing more than my monthly grocery budget. The dining room table seated 10. 8 places were set. Crystal glasses, china plates, cloth napkins folded into shapes I didn't recognize. The whole performance. Rebecca's mother Diane held court at one end. Her brother Christopher and his wife Lauren sat like matching bookends. Marcus's sister-in-law from his first marriage. Even their neighbor Todd. Everyone except family. I got the seat at the opposite end from Diane. The spot where you put people you need to include but don't actually want to talk to. "Walter, so glad you could join us." Diane's voice carried that particular tone, the one that says, "I'm being polite, but we both know what I really think." "We were just discussing the renovations we're planning for the lake house." Lake house, right, the one they'd bought last year. Third property, investment portfolio diversification. Marcus had explained it to me like I was a child learning to count. "Sounds nice," I said. "It's necessary, really." Rebecca leaned forward. "The master bathroom is completely outdated. Can you imagine? Tile from 2005. We're gutting the whole thing." I thought about my bathroom. Original tile from 1987. Cracked grout. I'd repaired myself 4 times. But it worked. It was clean. It was home. The first course arrived. Some kind of salad with nuts and cheese and fruit, edible flowers on top. Pretty. Tasty, actually. I ate slowly, listened to them talk about things I didn't understand. Cryptocurrency, market volatility, someone's yacht club membership. Then came the main course. Rebecca carried out the platter herself. Roasted chicken, potatoes, vegetables that looked like they'd been arranged by an artist. She set it down with ceremony, started serving. My plate came last. The chicken looked different than everyone else's, darker. The vegetables arranged differently, like they'd come from a different pan. That's the organic free-range chicken I've been saving. Rebecca smiled again. That same smile from the video. Special preparation. I know you like things simple, Walter. Classic flavors. I cut into the chicken, took a bite. It tasted off. Not spoiled exactly, but wrong. The texture strange, slightly metallic aftertaste. I glanced around the table. Everyone else eating normally, talking, laughing. No one paying attention to me. Rebecca caught my eye, held it for 3 seconds, still smiling. That's when I knew. Jesus Christ. That's when I knew for certain. I set down my fork, picked up my water glass, took a long drink, watched Rebecca watching me. Everything all right, Walter? Her voice pitched perfectly. Concerned, caring, completely fake. Fine, I said. Just enjoying the company. I waited, let the conversation flow around me. Market talk, vacation plans, someone's child getting into private school, the kind of talk that fills space without meaning anything. Rebecca got up to refill wine glasses, moved around the table, spent extra time at Diane's end. Everyone distracted by her performance. That's when I acted. My plate, her plate, both the same white china, both in the same chaos of a dinner party. It took 2 seconds, maybe 3. My full plate slid left. Her half-eaten plate slid right. I took a bite of what had been her chicken. Normal. Perfectly seasoned. The way chicken should taste. Rebecca returned to her seat, picked up her fork, took a bite without looking. I watched her face, waited for the recognition, the realization. It came slowly. A pause mid-chew, a subtle change in her expression. Her eyes flickered to me, then to her plate, then back to me. Something wrong with your chicken, Rebecca? Diane asked. You look pale. No, it's... Rebecca pushed the plate away slightly. I might have overdone the seasoning on this piece. Tastes fine to me. I took another bite, made sure she saw me swallow. Best chicken I've had in months. You really outdid yourself. Her jaw tightened, just barely, but I saw it. The rest of dinner passed in careful silence between us, everyone else oblivious, talking over and around the real conversation happening without words. She knew I knew. I knew she knew I knew. And now she'd eaten whatever she'd meant for me. Dessert came, some elaborate chocolate thing with French words in the description. I ate mine slowly, watched Rebecca push hers around her plate. Her skin had gone from pale to slightly green. I need to excuse myself. She stood abruptly. Feeling a bit off, Marcus followed her to the hallway. Their voices carried, hers pitched with panic, his confused, concerned. I finished my dessert, complimented Diane on her earrings, asked Christopher about his new Porsche, played the role they expected. Grateful father, humble guest, man who knew his place. 20 minutes later, Marcus returned alone. "Dad, I think we should call it a night. Rebecca isn't feeling well. Something she ate, maybe." "That's a shame." I stood, retrieved my jacket from the closet. "Please tell her I hope she feels better. That chicken really was special." Marcus walked me to the door. In the dim entryway light, he looked younger, more like the boy who used to help me build birdhouses in the garage, before law school, before Rebecca, before this house and these cars and these people. "Thanks for coming, Dad." "Thanks for having me." I drove home slowly. Let the evening replay in my mind. Martha used to say I thought too much, analyzed everything to death. But Martha had also taught me to trust my instincts, and my instincts tonight had been screaming. The apartment was dark when I got home. 1 bedroom, small kitchen, nothing like the house I'd raised Marcus in. That house was gone now, sold to pay for Martha's medical bills in her final year. Stage 4 cancer doesn't care about equity or retirement plans. I poured bourbon, 2 fingers, sat in my chair by the window. My phone buzzed, text from Marcus. "Rebecca in bathroom. Been sick for an hour. Did your chicken taste okay?" I typed back slowly. "Mine was delicious. Hope she feels better soon." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "She's saying something was wrong with the food. Wants to know if you're feeling sick too." "I feel fine. Tell her not to worry." The dots didn't come back. I sipped bourbon, thought about that smile, that special preparation, that careful watch while I took my first bite. My phone rang. Marcus. I let it go to voicemail. It rang again. I answered. "Dad, Rebecca is really sick. I'm thinking about taking her to the ER. If you think that's necessary." She keeps saying... He paused. "She's not making much sense. Saying something about switched plates. Did anything happen at dinner?" I took a breath. Let it out slow. "Son, I sat at the far end of your table and ate what was served to me. Your wife prepared the meal. If something was wrong with the food, you'd have to ask her about that." Silence on the other end. The kind of silence that says someone is thinking harder than they want to. Okay, Dad. I'll call you tomorrow." He hung up. I finished my bourbon, poured another finger. The truth was settling in now, not suspicion, not paranoia, truth. Cold and clear as January ice. My daughter-in-law had tried to poison me, or at minimum feed me food she knew was contaminated, and she'd smiled while doing it, smiled while watching me take that first bite. The question was why? I got up, opened my file cabinet, pulled out the folder I'd been keeping for 2 years, ever since Martha died and things started changing. Bank statements, copies of checks I'd written, $22,000 for Marcus's law school loans, paid off the year before he made partner, $15,000 for their wedding, Rebecca's dream destination ceremony in Napa, $8,000 for the down payment on their first condo, before they upgraded to the house, before real estate became their hobby, $45,000 last year alone, all the times Marcus called, car trouble, tax bill, investment opportunity that couldn't wait, Rebecca's mother's surgery, emergency expenses, family helping family. I'd said yes every time, depleted my savings, cashed in bonds Martha and I had bought in the 80s, took on extra shifts at the hardware store even after I should have been fully retired. And tonight, she'd tried to poison me. I laid the statements out on my kitchen table, did the math I'd been avoiding for months. $73,000 in the last 3 years, not counting the smaller amounts. The 100 here, the 250 there, the casual borrowing that never got repaid. My hands started shaking, not from age, from rage. I picked up my phone, put it back down, picked it up again. No, not yet. Not like this. Martha's voice in my head. Think it through, Walter. Don't act on anger. Act on truth. I sat back down, made myself breathe. The phone buzzed. Text from Marcus. At hospital with Rebecca. They're running tests. Food poisoning suspected. Did you save any of that chicken? I almost laughed. Did I save evidence of her crime against me? No, I'm sorry. I threw everything away before I left. Not a lie. I hadn't brought any food home. She's really sick, Dad. They might keep her overnight. I'm sorry to hear that. Let me know if you need anything. What I didn't say, if she'd successfully fed me that chicken, I'd be the one in the hospital. Or worse. I looked at the papers spread across my table. Years of help, years of yes, years of being the reliable father, the dependable ATM, the man who never said no when his son called. And this was my thanks. A smile and contaminated chicken. My phone rang again. Different number. I didn't recognize it. Hello? Mr. Mitchell, this is Dr. Patel from County General. Your son listed you as his emergency contact. I'm calling about Rebecca Mitchell. Emergency contact. Right. Because even after everything, I was still the person they called. Is she all right? She's stable. But we need to ask you some questions about tonight's dinner. You ate the same food? Not exactly the same. We had different pieces of chicken. Different pieces? The doctor's voice changed slightly. From different parts of the bird? Or prepared differently? I'm not sure. Rebecca did the cooking. She might know better than me. She's fairly incoherent at the moment. Severe food poisoning. Possibly salmonella. Possibly something else. We're running tests. I feel fine, Doctor. That's unusual. If it was salmonella from the chicken, you should both be sick unless... Unless what? Unless you didn't eat from the same source. Mr. Mitchell, is there any reason to believe the food might have been tampered with? Smart doctor. Or maybe just experienced. Maybe this wasn't the first time someone had ended up in his ER with suspicious food poisoning. I couldn't say, doctor. I'm just glad she's getting good care. We're going to keep her for observation. And Mr. Mitchell, if you start feeling any symptoms at all, come in immediately. I will. Thank you. I hung up, stared at my phone, tampered with. The word hung in the air. She'd tampered with my food, and I'd switched our plates. So now she was suffering exactly what she'd intended for me. Poetic justice. Martha would have called it karma. I called it survival. But the question remained, why? Why would Rebecca want me sick? Or dead? I thought about the life insurance. the one Martha and I had taken out 30 years ago. Marcus was the beneficiary. $250,000 policy, enough to make a difference, enough to renovate a lake house bathroom. I thought about the conversations I'd overheard, the ones where Rebecca complained about helping me, about the burden of aging parents, about how much easier things would be. I thought about last Christmas, the tension when I'd asked to store some boxes in their garage. "We're not a storage facility, Walter." Rebecca's words. Marcus's silence. I thought about every subtle dig, every suggestion I was becoming a burden, every hint that my time was passing. The bourbon was gone. The papers still spread on my table. My phone silent now. I made a decision. The kind of decision you don't reverse. Tomorrow I'd visit my lawyer, the one who'd helped Martha and me do our wills. Frank Sanders, old school, honest, someone who'd understand. Tonight I'd sleep. Or try to. Tomorrow I'd protect myself. Because if Rebecca had tried once, she'd try again. And next time I might not be fast enough to switch the plates. My phone buzzed one more time. Text from Marcus. "Rebecca keeps asking about you, keeps saying your name. The doctors say it's the fever. Dad, I'm scared." I stared at that message, at those 3 words. I'm scared. When had Marcus last said that to me? 10 years ago? 15? Back when I was the protector. The father who fixed things. The man who made problems disappear. Now, I was the problem. Or at least, Rebecca saw me that way. I typed back. "I'm here if you need me. Always." And I meant it. Despite everything. Despite her smile and her poisoned chicken. Despite the money and the snubs and the subtle campaign to erase me from their lives. He was still my son. But I'd learned something tonight. Something Martha had tried to teach me years ago. Love doesn't mean being stupid. And protecting family sometimes means protecting yourself first. I gathered up the papers, put them back in the folder. Added a new note on top. Dinner at Marcus's house. Date, Rebecca's behavior, hospital, Dr. Patel's questions. Documentation. Martha had been a secretary for 30 years. She taught me the power of documentation. Write it down, date it, keep records. I put the folder in my safe. The small one I kept in my closet. Fireproof, locked. Then I went to bed. Sleep didn't come easy. I kept seeing Rebecca's smile, kept hearing Dr. Patel's voice. "Is there any reason to believe the food might have been tampered with?" "Yes, doctor. Yes, there was. And tomorrow I'd make sure it never happened again." Morning came gray and cold. November weather. The kind that makes your bones ache. Or maybe that was just being 72 years old. I made coffee, eggs, toast, normal breakfast. But nothing felt normal anymore. My phone showed 3 missed calls. All Marcus, 2 voicemails. I listened to the first one while eating. "Dad, it's 6 a.m. Rebecca's still in the hospital. They're keeping her another day. I've been up all night. Can we talk?" The second one came at 7:30. "Dad, where are you? I need to ask you something. About last night. Call me back." I finished my eggs, drank my coffee. Called Frank Sanders instead. Frank Sanders' law office. "Frank, it's Walter Mitchell. Walter, been a while. How are you holding up? Frank had handled Martha's estate. He knew what the last 2 years had been like. I need to talk to you about updating some things. Sure. When were you thinking? Today. If you can fit me in? A pause. That urgent? Yes. Come by at 10. I'll make time. Frank's office was the same as always. Old books, leather chairs, wood desk polished to a shine. The kind of office that said, I've been doing this 40 years and I do it right. He poured coffee without asking, set it in front of me, sat down. What's going on, Walter? I told him. All of it. The invitation, the dinner, the strange chicken, the switched plates, Rebecca in the hospital, the doctor's questions. Frank listened without interrupting. 30 years as a lawyer teaches you when to be quiet. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair. You know what you're saying. You're accusing your daughter-in-law of attempted poisoning. I'm saying the chicken she specifically served me made her very sick when she ate it instead. Do you have proof it was intentional? No, just instinct, and her smile. Frank nodded slowly. Instinct matters. So does that smile. I've seen it before. In depositions, in courtrooms, the smile that says I'm getting away with something. So, what do I do? First, we protect you legally. Update your will. Make your wishes crystal clear. Remove any ambiguity about assets. Make sure Marcus understands everything. I want to change my life insurance beneficiary. Frank raised an eyebrow. From Marcus? To a trust, with conditions. I'll still help him, still love him. But not like this, not with Rebecca having access. That's wise. What else? I want to document everything. Every dollar I've given them, every conversation, every time something felt wrong. I can help with that. We'll create a file, legal protection if things get worse. You think they will? Frank met my eyes. I think if someone tries to poison you once, they might try again, especially if they think they failed. The word poison hung between us. Official now, named. How long to set this up? Basic changes? A week. But I can draft a memo today. Something that says you came to me with concerns, that you're taking steps, legal CYA. Do it. He pulled out a legal pad, started writing. 20 minutes later, I had a document, signed, dated, notarized by his secretary. Keep this somewhere safe, not your house, maybe a safe deposit box. I have one. Good. Now, Walter, I have to ask, are you going to tell Marcus about this? I'd been thinking about that all morning. Not yet, maybe not ever. He's my son. I love him. But I need to protect myself first. That's not selfish, Walter. That's survival. I left Frank's office with paperwork, protection, a plan. My phone rang as I got to my car. Marcus. Dad. Finally. Where have you been? Had some errands? How's Rebecca? Better. They're releasing her today. But Dad, she told me something. About dinner. About the chicken. My hand tightened on the phone. What about it? She said she was trying a new recipe. Experimental. She meant to tell you not to eat too much of it because she wasn't sure it would agree with older digestion. But she forgot. And then she feels terrible because she got sick, and you could have too. I let that sink in. The story, the explanation, carefully crafted, plausible, designed to cover what happened. That's very considerate of her to worry, I said. So, you're not upset? She's been anxious all morning, worried you'd think she was trying to poison you, or something crazy like that. There it was. The accusation floated, dismissed as crazy, before I could even make it. Smart. Rebecca was very smart. Of course not. These things happen. I'm just glad she's okay. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot. Listen, Rebecca wants to apologize in person. Can you come by the house tomorrow for coffee? Every instinct said no. Every survival mechanism screamed danger. Sure. What time? 10? I'll be at work, but Rebecca will be home. Alone. She wanted me alone in her house. I'll be there. I hung up, sat in my car in Frank's parking lot. She'd preempted me, created a narrative, made herself the victim of a cooking accident, made me the potential accuser of something crazy. And now she wanted me alone. I started the car, drove to the hardware store, bought something I never thought I'd need, a small voice recorder, the kind that clips to your pocket, records hours of audio. Looks like nothing. The kid at the register didn't ask questions, rang it up. $47. I drove home, read the instructions 3 times, practiced using it, made sure I understood every function. Tomorrow I'd walk into Rebecca's house. I'd accept her apology, drink her coffee, and I'd record every word. Because Martha had taught me about documentation, and Frank had taught me about protection, and Rebecca had taught me about survival. That night I couldn't eat, made soup, threw it away, tried toast. It turned to dust in my mouth. I thought about calling Marcus, telling him everything. Son, your wife tried to poison me, but I had no proof, just instinct, and her smile, and the convenient story she'd already told. He'd choose her. I knew that. Men usually do. Choose the wife over the father. Choose the future over the past. I couldn't blame him for that, but I could protect myself. Morning came too fast. I dressed carefully. Khakis, button-down shirt. The voice recorder clipped inside my shirt pocket. Tested it twice. Clear audio. Sensitive mic. The drive to their house felt longer than usual. Every mile marker a countdown. Rebecca answered the door in yoga pants and a cashmere sweater. Makeup perfect. Smile bright. Walter, come in, come in. Thank you so much for coming. The house smelled like fresh coffee, cinnamon rolls baking, domestic perfection. Sit, please. She gestured to their kitchen island. White marble, designer stools, everything expensive. She poured coffee, added cream without asking how I took it, set out plates, pulled rolls from the oven. I feel terrible about the other night. She sat across from me. That recipe was a disaster. I should have warned you. Should have been more careful. These things happen. Marcus said you were very understanding. That means so much. Family is everything, you know. Family. The word she used while trying to eliminate me from it. It is, I agreed. I wanted to talk to you, actually, about something important. She sipped her coffee. Marcus and I have been discussing our future, financial planning, estate considerations. Here it comes. We realized we're spending a lot on maintaining this house and the lake house and investments. It's been a strain. I waited. We were thinking it might be time to consolidate, simplify. Maybe look at assisted living options for you, nothing institutional, something nice, where you'd have support, community, care. I don't need care. Not now. But thinking ahead, being prepared. Marcus worries about you, alone in that apartment. What if something happened? Like food poisoning? Her smile faltered, just slightly. Exactly. Medical emergencies. You'd have people around, professionals. How much would this cost? Well, that's the thing. It's expensive. But we were thinking if we sold your car, liquidated your savings, the insurance policy, we could structure something that works for everyone. Everyone, meaning them. You want me to give you all my money to put me in a home I don't need. That's not how I'd phrase it. How would you phrase it? Her expression cooled, the mask slipping. I'd phrase it as adult children taking responsibility for an aging parent who can't properly care for himself anymore. I can care for myself fine. Can you? You're 72, Walter, living alone, working part-time at a hardware store. Is that really safe? Dignified? More dignified than begging my son for money while his wife plans my funeral. The words were out before I could stop them. The recorder was running, every word captured. Rebecca's face went white, then red. That's a horrible thing to say. Is it? Tell me about the chicken, Rebecca. The real story. I told you the real story. Then why did you watch me take that first bite? Why did you smile? You're paranoid. Am I? Or am I just not stupid? She stood up. I think you should leave. I think you're right. I stood too. Thank you for the coffee and the conversation. Very enlightening. Marcus will hear about this, about your accusations. I'm sure he will. Hear your version anyway. I walked to the door, turned back. One more thing. I've updated my will, changed my life insurance. You'll find I'm worth more alive than dead. Might want to factor that into your financial planning. Her jaw dropped. Actually dropped. I left, got in my car, drove 3 blocks before I had to pull over. My hands were shaking. Adrenaline, fear, rage, all of it. But I had the recording, every word. Her suggestion about assisted living, about liquidating my assets. Her slip when I pushed back. I pulled out my phone, called Frank. I need to see you now. I have audio. Come straight over. Frank listened to the recording twice, made notes, stopped and started it, focused on specific phrases. She didn't confess to poisoning you, but she did reveal intent to gain control of your finances, and she implied you're incompetent. Both are concerning. What do I do? Legally, we file this with your documents. It establishes pattern of behavior. If anything happens to you, there's evidence of motive. And personally? Frank sighed. Personally, you limit contact. You don't eat anything she prepares. You don't sign anything she asks you to sign. And tell your son the truth. He won't believe me. Maybe not now, but he'll remember this conversation if things escalate. Sometimes that's enough. I drove home, uploaded the audio to 3 places: email, cloud storage, a USB drive I locked in my safe. Then I called Marcus. Dad, Rebecca said you came by, said things got tense. They did. We need to talk, in person, just you and me. About what? About your wife, about money, about what's really happening here. Silence. Dad, if this is about Rebecca wanting to help with your living situation, it's about Rebecca wanting to control my assets and put me somewhere she can forget about me. There's a difference. That's not fair. She cares about you. Does she? Ask yourself something, Marcus. Really ask yourself. When did your wife start being so concerned about my welfare? Before or after you told her how much my life insurance is worth? Jesus, Dad, that's what, son? True? Uncomfortable? Something you've been trying not to notice? I'm not having this conversation over the phone. Then come over tonight. I'll show you everything. Bank statements, recordings, documentation of every dollar I've given you. Every conversation that felt wrong. All of it. Recordings? You recorded Rebecca? I recorded a conversation where she tried to convince me to give up my autonomy and my assets. Yes. I can't believe you'd do that. I can't believe you'd let her try to poison me. But here we are. I hung up. He didn't call back. Hours passed. I sat in my chair by the window, watched the sun set, watched cars drive by. Normal people living normal lives. My phone stayed silent. Around 8 p.m., a text came through. Dad, I think we need some space. This is getting out of hand. Let's talk in a few weeks when things calm down. A few weeks. Time for Rebecca to refine her strategy. Time for him to forget. Time for everything to go back to how they wanted it. I texted back, I'll give you space. But Marcus, if anything happens to me, there are lawyers involved, documentation, people who know everything, just so you know. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Nothing's going to happen to you, but noted. I set the phone down, poured bourbon. Martha's photo on the mantel caught my eye. Her smile, real smile, not Rebecca's calculated version. I'm trying, sweetheart, I said to the photo. Trying to do this right. Protect myself without destroying him. No answer, just her smile. The next 3 weeks passed in careful silence. No calls from Marcus, no invitations to dinner, no surprise visits. I went to work, came home, lived small, lived careful. But I wasn't idle. I documented everything, every expense I'd ever covered for Marcus, created a spreadsheet, dates, amounts, purposes, 45 pages when I finished, total $137,000 over 10 years, since he graduated law school. Since he met Rebecca, $137,000, and they wanted more. I made copies, gave one to Frank, put one in my safe deposit box, kept one in my apartment safe. I also updated my will, Final version. Reviewed every line. Everything split between charity and a trust for Marcus. Nothing direct. Nothing Rebecca could access. My life insurance went to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Every penny. If I died, Rebecca would get nothing, and there would be a paper trail asking why. Frank called on week 4. "Walter, you have a visitor, Marcus. He asked me to arrange a meeting, neutral ground." "When?" "Now, if you're willing." I drove to Frank's office. Marcus was already there. He looked tired, older than 38. Lines around his eyes I hadn't noticed before. Frank excused himself. "I'll be in the conference room if you need me." Marcus and I sat across from each other, the desk between us, evidence folders stacked to one side. "Dad, let me go first." I opened the top folder, pulled out the spreadsheet, set it in front of him. "That's 10 years of helping you. Every dollar documented. $137,000 total." He stared at it, didn't pick it up. "I never asked you to track that." "No, you just asked for the money. Every time. You never said no. Because you're my son, because I love you, because that's what fathers do." "Then why are you showing me this now?" "Because your wife tried to poison me. And when that didn't work, she tried to convince me to sign over my assets and go quietly into a facility where I'd be out of her way." "She didn't try to poison you." "Then explain the chicken, the smile, the hospital, the convenient story afterward." Marcus rubbed his face. "She made a mistake. Experimental recipe. Bad judgment." "You don't believe that?" Silence. "Marcus, look at me. Do you honestly believe your wife accidentally made me sick?" More silence. "Dad, even if she did something questionable, even if she was trying to make you mildly ill to make a point, that's not the same as attempted murder." "What point would making me sick make?" That you're getting older. That you might need help. That being stubborn about it could have consequences. The rationalization made me sick. "So you're saying she poisoned me a little bit to teach me a lesson about aging?" "I'm saying she made a mistake. A bad one. And she knows it. She's been sick about it. Guilty. She's been guilty about getting caught, not about doing it." Marcus stood up, paced to the window, looked out at nothing. "What do you want, Dad? An apology? Money back? For us to disappear from your life?" "I want you to see the truth. I want you to understand who you married. And I want you to know that I've protected myself legally. So if anything happens to me, there will be questions, investigations, consequences." He turned around. "You think I'd let something happen to you? I think you're not paying attention. And by the time you do, it might be too late." I stood up too, gathered the folders. "I love you, son. That hasn't changed. But I don't trust her. And until you can look me in the eye and tell me you're absolutely certain she didn't try to hurt me, I can't be around her." "So what does that mean?" "It means you're welcome to visit me anytime, alone. It means I'll still answer when you call, still help when I can. But I won't eat her food, won't be alone with her, won't sign anything she suggests. And I won't apologize for protecting myself." Marcus looked broken, like the weight of choosing was crushing him. "She's my wife, Dad." "I know, and I'm your father. You shouldn't have to pick. But she made this necessary. I walked to the door, stopped. One more thing. That life insurance you were probably counting on, it's gone, donated to charity. If I die tomorrow, you get nothing. Just so we're clear. His face went white. I never wanted your money. Maybe you didn't, but she did. And now she can't have it. I left him standing there. Frank met me in the hallway. How did it go? He still loves her more than he believes me. But he heard me. That's something. It's more than something, it's protection. He can't say he didn't know. I drove home as winter light faded to dark. The day felt longer than it was, heavier. My phone rang at 9 p.m. Marcus. Dad, I talked to Rebecca. Really talked to her. About everything. And she admits the chicken was bad judgment. She was angry about money, about feeling like we always had to help you. She wanted to make you sick enough to scare you, not hurt you seriously, just scare you into accepting help. That's still poisoning. I know. I told her that. She's agreed to counseling for both of us, to work through this. That's good. And Dad, I'm sorry for not seeing it sooner, for not protecting you from this. You're right. I stopped paying attention. Something in my chest loosened. Just a little. Thank you for saying that. Can we try again? Slowly? I miss you. I miss you too. But Marcus, I meant what I said. I won't be alone with her, not for a long time. Maybe never. I understand. What if we met for coffee? You and me? Once a week? I'd like that. Saturday mornings? That place on 5th you like? Yeah. 9 o'clock. I'll be there. We hung up. I sat in the dark. Let myself feel something other than anger for the first time in weeks. Hope. Cautious. Guarded. But there. The first Saturday, Marcus showed up 10 minutes early. Brought my coffee the way I liked it. No cream. We talked about nothing important. Weather, sports, work stories. The careful conversation of people rebuilding trust. It became routine. Every Saturday, 9 a.m., 1 hour. He told me things about the pressure at work, the money stress, how Rebecca's family expected a certain lifestyle, how he felt trapped between worlds. I listened, didn't judge, just let him talk. By month 3, he started asking my advice again, real questions, not about money, about life, about choices, like when he was 20 and figuring out college, before everything got complicated. Rebecca never came up directly, but she was there in the gaps, the things he didn't say, the careful editing of stories. I didn't push, just showed up every Saturday, drank coffee, loved my son. Spring came, then summer. Our coffee dates continued, steady, reliable. Then one Saturday in July, Marcus showed up looking different, lighter. Dad, I need to tell you something. Okay. Rebecca and I are separating, maybe divorcing. We're not sure yet. I set down my coffee. Are you all right? Yeah, no, but yes. It's complicated, but it's right. What happened? I saw it. Finally saw what you saw. The manipulation, the calculation, how she looked at people like numbers, like assets to manage. What made you see it? She tried the same thing with her mother. Convinced her to move into a facility, sell her house, turn over her finances. Her mother said no, and Rebecca said, she said things that sounded exactly like what she'd said about you. I'm sorry. Don't be. You tried to warn me. It took me too long to listen. We sat in silence. Not uncomfortable, just present. What happens now? I asked. I figure out who I am without her, pay off my own debts, live within my means, probably move to a smaller place. You'll be okay. Will I? Yeah, you're my son. You're stronger than you think. He smiled. Real smile. First genuine one I'd seen in years. Thanks, Dad, for not giving up on me, for protecting yourself but still leaving the door open. That's what love is. Boundaries and presence both. We finished our coffee, made plans for next week. Same time, same place. Walking to my car, I felt Martha's presence, like she was walking beside me, approving. I'd protected myself, but I hadn't lost my son. Both things could be true. Back home, I pulled out the folders, the documentation, the evidence I'd collected. I didn't need them anymore, but I kept them anyway, just in case, because trust rebuilds slowly, and memory is protection. I made lunch, watched birds at the feeder, normal afternoon, normal life. My phone buzzed, text from Marcus. Thank you for today. Love you, Dad. I typed back, love you too, son. Always have, always will. Because that was the truth. Through all of it. The money, the poison, the fear, the anger, love remained, changed, scarred, but present. And sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything. If you like this story, please like it. Subscribe to the channel and share your impressions in the comments. To listen to more stories, click on the window on the right. Thank you for being with us.